Today's video, we are going to talk about, do new Google Ads accounts start out with a disadvantage? Yes, they do, in a major way. That's a total understatement, actually. And here's why. I'm going to explain in detail why it is. If you're not getting the results that you want out of your Google Ads account quite yet, and it's been somewhat recently that you started your journey with Google Ads and getting to your fortune that you want to make with it, that you absolutely can do if you just outdo your competitors, why you're not getting results yet. Even if it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6, 7, 8, 9 months already since you've launched that campaign. Everybody wants results as quick as possible, but the system is what it is, and you have to work with the system that Google Ads has in order to get the results you want. If it were as easy to start up an ad account and then boom, you're a millionaire right away, nobody would have McDonald's and Starbucks and everything else. Start up a little website, generating the leads, they'd work with somebody to get the work done or deliver the product. The differentiation point between you getting the millions and somebody else is the strategy and time, baby. And I'm going to explain why in this video. So my name is Corey. I'm an owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in getting guaranteed results for clients with their online advertising before taking a management fee from our clients. We're able to do this because I'm the one doing strategy with all clients' accounts at our firm, and I've been doing advertising for 20 years now and have gotten results on hundreds of different client ad accounts at this point in time. And then with that, I share with you the exact things that we're using to get guaranteed results for clients on this particular channel. So with that said, if you watch to the end of the video, I will give you information about how much you can make if you just stick with what you're doing and you get to the other side of what you're doing with some actual real case studies of different companies where we started out and we made a whole millions and millions of dollars. But if you were to look at things 1 month in, okay, which should tell you right off the bat, what you get right away in terms of your results with Google Ads is absolutely nothing compared to what you're going to have later on, and it shouldn't discourage you. What you should focus on more than anything is rate of progression. Go ahead, by the way, before I get into this content, and just Google exponential curves, okay? This is one of the hidden mysteries of the world that people don't understand. Exponential growth curves, say this is your chart, start out like this, like this. Here's your results on Google Ads for the first year a lot of times in competitive markets. Here's your results year 3. And this is simply when you have compounding growth at a certain percentage rate that remains consistent over time. That is, whether you're growing an account profitability by 5%, 10%, 15%, there's going to be a point where when you zoom out, it's going to be amazing. But short term, when you're here, you're going to say, why isn't it working? Why is Google taking all my money? And the reality is, you shouldn't be bitching or complaining here because you're going to be rich as a motherfucker right here if you were to just stay with it and not complain so much and not expect so much from what you're doing right up front. So with that said, I'm going to go into here an example of real numbers where we got with a client's account where we took the exact, and I do mean exact setup in one account that was running for a decade already, transplanted that entire setup identically that we were running in that 10-year-old account into a brand new Google Ads account, and what the numbers from our account were on that new account the first week, or should I say first month, sorry, compared to where it was 10 years into the process of running that account for another company. So basically, we took this account it was an aged account, took all the keywords, everything. It was a Google search campaign that we were running and shopping campaigns. Used it in a new account to try to saturate the market a little bit more and take basically a bit more than we should out of the market, running 2 sets of ads because it was one of the ways that we had to try to expand things. We were already making good money with the Google Ads account, and we're, naturally as you run ads, you'll eventually hit a roadblock with what you're doing and the growth of your account. One of the ways that you can make more is start up a second account with the same keywords and all that, and just have 2 ads. By the way, it only makes sense to do that if you're going to have you price differently. So in other words, you do price anchoring, you run ads at one price. You could take the exact same product line, and this was for a printer toner, by the way. you sell the exact same printer toner, one printer toner set sold at kind of like the upper end of the market in terms of price range. One set of printer toner on another website, you sell it at kind of the lower end of the range. So you're going to have less margin on one, but greater margin on the other, at least when you're not considering marketing cost. This will actually typically make you more overall money from Google Ads, given there's a portion of the market who wants cheaper, don't care about quality so much, and there's a portion of the market that has money coming out of their ass and just wants the sure thing that's not, where they're not going to have issues with the product or the customer service of the company that they're buying it from and thereof. And a lot of that just has to come down to income. The strongest thing that correlates one versus the other is income, but there's a lot of rich cheap still at the end of the day who want cheap that are rich. And there's poor people who at least know they can't afford to have things not work and defy the odds as well. You can have one ad that says cheapest product on the market, and another ad underneath it that says highest quality product on the market. You're going to get more out of the market because you're catering to the both ends of the market at a higher level than you could cater being everything to everyone. As they say, when you try to appeal to everybody, you end up appealing to nobody, which is why niching down is so important. Well, in a market, you can niche down on a high level and a low level in terms of price, and you'll often then double what you can make out of that market because you now have two ads going that are now profitable, that are both getting a 600, 700, 800% ROI on your investment, but more total sales because now you're saturating a bigger chunk of the ad space in a market, and you're able to do that and afford to do that because you're getting a higher percentage of the sales for people that want a higher end product and a higher percentage of the sales that want a lower end product, if you will. So with that said, okay, 30 days into a brand new account selling the printer toner. What I have here is your cost per click, impression share, number of impressions, conversion rate of this new account, same keyword, same ad, same everything, compared to that account that was still going 10 years ago. Now, granted, I did say there is a little bit of a difference in the pricing and all that. Major difference is going to be your age of your account. And when we're saying pricing difference here, by the way, it's printer toner. We can't afford to sell a printer toner for 3 times what we were selling it before and get away with it. We're talking about 30% price difference from one company to the other. We're middle high versus middle low, okay? With that said, now you understand the basis of this experiment that we ran, which really is an experiment. It just shows you, it's a perfect demonstration of how much the account age will affect your results starting out, given basically subtracting out as many variables as possible other than the age of the account and how it impacts how much your ability of taking $1 and turning it into a amount of profit for your company on a dollar by dollar basis invested in the ads. So with that said, the existing account that was running for a decade already, cost per click wise, we were paying about $1.74 per click on average. The last 30 days that we ran it, we got a 93% impression share, which is the amount of times that the ad shows up out of the available places that we can have the ad show up for the keywords that we're targeting, which is a bit of a misnomer. Impression share just really means what percentage of the time do you show up in the times that you're eligible to show up, not total times for that particular keyword set that you're targeting, which I'm going to talk more about that in a follow-up video, by the way, because a lot of people don't understand that. The impressions were 62,097 and conversion rate was 3.6%. So that gives you your base numbers of the account that was been running for a decade already, what we were expecting as far as results. Now, printer toner, if you're just going to buy one printer toner, by the way, it's going to be about $50. A lot of that business to make it work, as a lot of you guys make the mistake of figuring out or learning that if you're in a business where repeat customers come in, you'll typically not make any money on getting the customer, or at the very best, you'll break even. What you got to do is the big guys are going to break even on getting the customer, and then any repeat sales that they get from that same customer, that's more likely to come from them than anybody else, as long as they don't piss that customer off on the initial purchase, is going to pay for the cost, where your profit is, or even lose a little money on the front end. Once somebody's bought a printer toner from you once, they'll probably just go back to you to buy it in the future. Paying this kind of cost per click and then this conversion rate, we're basically not even profitable on that initial purchase, but it's fine when you consider the repeat purchases understanding lifetime value of a customer, also understanding, which a lot of people don't consider as well, which is what limits their success with Google Ads in a market like that, which is high Google Ads spend is going to heavily influence how much organic traffic you can get coming to your site. Google wants to send the traffic to people who don't need it. They do not want to send the free traffic to the guy who's a freeloader who doesn't have any traffic going to his site otherwise. The guy who spends $50,000 a month on ads and does, $8 million a year in sales, they want to send all the organic traffic that they can to them because you're the person who's less likely to scam their customers coming through the system so that they get a bad experience. Because if somebody goes through Google and gets a bad experience, they're going to be less likely to go through Google in the future. Yes, there's all other alternatives. They could go to social media and find somebody. They could go through a referral, many other things. Anyway, with that said, okay, now how much did our cost per click, impression share, impressions, and conversion rate get affected when we moved over that entire setup, changed the pricing a little bit, which on this additional one, we actually raised the pricing, not lowered it. We're talking about 30% in terms of raising it. Cost per click went to $1.20, which you may say, well, what the hell? Why is the cost per click lower than what it is in an account that's been running a year already? Which, by the way, it's not lower because we have low quality scores. It's not that at all. It's because Google, your cost per click actually should go up over time if you're using smart bidding, because Google is going to, after getting enough conversion data, understand where the customers are, and they're going to charge more for the customers and the traffic that's highly likely to convert than your standard everyday click, if you will. Cost per click really is a vanity metric nowadays. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is your ROI / cost per lead that you're generating, and really just ROI, because they actually charge more for the person that they know is more statistically likely to convert, which is the person you actually want. You could pay less for a click all day long. You're just going to get the remnant traffic that doesn't convert very well. A lot of people don't realize that about Google Ads nowadays, and they say, I don't want to pay $50 a click. I want to pay $2. Okay, well, you're going to get the absolute bottom of the barrel traffic that does not convert for that $2 a click. You heard it here first. You may not like it, but that's the reality. So the cost per click was lower. The impression share, we're getting about 40% impression share already on that first month, which is obviously much lower than here. The impressions we got was way lower, 3,243 versus the 62,097. So this right here shows you there's like a 20 times difference in impressions. An aged account that's been running it for 10 years already was going to get on a new account. And then finally, the conversion rate, 0.11% conversion rate versus 3.6% conversion rate. So we're talking about almost a 30 times difference, or roughly 30 times difference in increase in conversion rate on the traffic that you're getting. Which, by the way, most of that actually comes from Google playing this game, because everything's run off an algorithm to maximize profitability from Google, for Google. They are going to understand really, really well the people that use Google, who's actually buying stuff, who's not. And they have the data going back 20 years on their platform about who buys and who doesn't buy, who they are, how old they are, what their income's like, what websites they visited in the past, what their gender is, what they're interested in, on and on and on and on and on and on. When you start out, Google knows that the average person, 90% of people are not going to stick around long term. Their goal to maximize money for them is to take advantage as much as they can of these guys that are going to be in and out of the system, like start and then 90 days they're out, because they expected to just get rich instantly, and if they didn't, they were going to give up like a little baby. And they just know that. So if they're going to take advantage of anybody and sending the traffic to somebody and they have to sell it to somebody, they're of course going to sell it to the guy who's going to be there that they know is going to be gone in 90 days regardless, because their expectations were too high. Also, they don't understand things like lifetime value of a customer, that you have to sell to a customer more than once to pay for ad spend, or they don't understand how to do phone sales or whatever it may be. There's a lot more to making an ad campaign work than just getting the ad set up in the perfect way. You got to understand business. And I have this all the time at our firm, where we can be the best agency in the world. If the client doesn't know anything about business strategy and don't have any experience running a business, it's very hard to get that ad campaign to work, because there's so many other things that have to go right in terms of customer development, asking for reviews, getting a high review rate, which I won't even get into. Businesses a lot of times just want us to make their entire business work just because we don't know how to run an ad. Well, there's a lot of other stuff that generally has to go right too, at least at an average rate. Understanding sales, how to take advantage of a customer list to get more lifetime value of a customer, on and on. But with that said, Google is going to send the traffic that they know is least likely to convert to the person that they know is not likely to stick around, because the guy that's been advertising for 10 years already, that they know have high click-through rates, indicating users find what they want quickly and easily with their ads, and have high conversion rates, which indicates that users, when they get to the site, they naturally are able to, it's clear and easy to use the site, and they get ultimately on top of it, they get good reviews, which indicate they got a good experience after they got the product, factor in them deciding how they view you. Ultimately, they know really well who you are, who you do well with, and their goal, along with short-term revenue extraction, Google's customers, Google knows that if they give people that help their customers the best, the benefit of high ROI, they're more likely to stay around, which makes the search results that Google has better and better on average, encouraging the good people that do well with their ads in their website and making it convert and high click-through rates. That makes people want to click on ads more and more in the future as they're trying to get the guys that are doing a good job to stick around, and the guys who aren't doing a good job to kind of like force them out by overpricing the traffic, sending them the least likely to convert people. With all that said, they assume that not only you're not going to stick around, but you probably don't know how to make a website that converts at a high rate. You probably don't know how to write an ad. They're going to send you the person least likely to convert right at the beginning. And you basically, in a lot of instances, in any, I should say, competitive market, in order to actually make a profit from running ads on Google Ads, you have to go through a period of running your ads for months at a loss because of this whole factor of Google sending you the least likely to convert traffic until you prove to them that you have a good converting website. And after blasting you with traffic for long enough, they're like, hey, wait a second, this guy, hey, this isn't your typical loser coming through here, that he actually knows how to make a website. And it's actually converting a little bit better than the top guy is. And then they'll start giving you a little bit better treatment, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And then over the next 2 years, instead of getting the poor quality traffic, you're getting just as good a traffic as the guy advertising a decade already, so to say. There's that. That's the biggest factor of why you're going to get a 0.1% conversion rate with the same ads, same landing pages, all of it. But also, Google does some split testing on their own end. That is, finding out exactly who buys versus who doesn't buy. You could target the word buy printer toner, and within that search term itself and all the traffic within people searching that exact term, there's 1,000 different types of buyers. People who want expensive product, cheap product. They want to know that you have product with micropigmentation in it or whatever. And since every offer from every company is different, they got to actually find out what portion of that keyword traffic actually buys from you or is likely to buy from you, because there's no black and white, shades of gray. That is, where somebody's to 63% likely to convert or 23%, and then, so with that said, they're able to dial in your ads more and more, the more data that you've collected in your account with the conversion tracking you have, to actually use the data to get you a higher conversion rate as well, because they want users to get a good experience. And if they stop showing your ad for people that didn't get a good experience and show your ad more and more for people that have gotten a good experience, they're also going to help themselves long-term by helping their users get a better experience, and that's going to go into getting you a higher conversion rate over time as well. Reasons of them treating you better because you actually are showing that you have value to Google outside of what's already there as far as advertisers go, and them understanding who buys your flavor of whatever you do, your conversion rate's going to be much higher later on, even with all the right keywords figured out from day one, than it is going to be starting out. Substantially different. We're talking 30 times different. This ultimately tells you here is you're not going to make money with your ads right off the bat like you think it is. The average person, which is why 90% of people don't make money other than they don't know how to run a business, they think they're going to run an ad today and the sales they get from the ad today is going to pay for tomorrow's ad spend already. Which, yeah, if you're selling something with super high demand and very, very, very low competition, you could sometimes make that happen, but that 99% of you guys watching this is not going to be you. What this says is you're not going to even expect to make a profit for a while, after at least months, if not sometimes years after turning on these ads. Which is why I tell you guys all the time on this channel just to invest what you can afford to lose. What can you invest in ad spend to where if it never made a profit for the next 10 years, could you afford to invest into it and not panic, not constantly lose sleep over it and whatnot? Because the longer you run the ads with the proper tracking you have set up, the higher that conversion rate's going to get over time. And eventually through process of elimination, assuming you have a product or service that does well, that's competitive in the marketplace, that is, competitively priced, the value is there in terms of average value, the features, benefits compared to your competition, also advertising on Google Ads, you're eventually going to get where you find out exactly what works for your company, and then you're going to have the conversion rate you need to be profitable for the kind of rates that Google's charging you for the traffic. Then you can start to expect to make money, but not before. The average person is just going to expect to make money right away, and then they'll even say, which is really aggravating to me, oh, we got all 500 people to the website, only 5 people bought. There is something wrong. There's something wrong here. 500 people that are looking for printer toner should have bought. They just don't understand how this stuff works. Ultimately, of those 500 people that got to your website that were looking for printer toner, they typed in buy printer toner, only 10% of them were ever going to buy from anybody. A lot of people start looking before they're ready to buy even. And the higher the price of product that you have, the less likely of the people that are searching are even going to actually buy. Which is why, by the way, you want to invest in long tail keyword traffic before you do anything else, which a lot of people want to ignore as well. They don't want to target brother XYJ non-9 model printer toner black because it's too much work to do that. They just want to target buy printer toner and then that's it. And the problem with that is you can do that if you want, but it's going to be way less profitable for you up front because of only 1 in 10 of the people typing in buy printer toner are actually going to end up buying anything. Whereas if somebody searches your brother XY whatever, like I just mentioned, that people searching for that, 70% of people are going to buy. And so you just naturally have a pool of people that you're paying for that's more valuable as a whole. Anyway, with that said, if you want to make your job you want to speed up the process of getting to a return quicker, you target long tail keyword traffic. Not only that, but you be as relevant as possible for them. So instead of sending them to your damn homepage and expecting people to work their asses off to find the product they were looking for, you send them to the exact page on your site that offers it, or you damn well create one. Easier to buy from your competition. And then instead of taking a year to hit profitability, it can take 2 months or 3 months. It makes that big of a difference. So you can put more work in to hit profitability sooner, but even then it's still not going to work right away. I don't care how efficient you are because of Google, how they treat you right away. And generally speaking, unless what your offer is a way better value than what's available in the market right now, you'll still have to do a little bit of testing to find out who's the customer is going to buy from you specifically. Now, if you're somebody who has something that's way better quality than what the market's offering now, high demand for it, you can actually get profitability within 30 days. We've done this many times before still, but it's not your default thing that you're going to have. And if you want to make it as easy as possible on you to get to profitability as soon as possible, you work on the product and you make it better quality for the money, or you come up with an offer, buy one, get one free. Nobody else is doing that. You do it so it stands out. And you may not be able to do that because the numbers don't work out, but you think outside the box to make your offer of what you're offering seem more exciting. Maybe you have the same printer toner as the other 20 guys that are selling it on Google Ads, but you offer it in such a way it makes it exciting, so to say. Or if you're offering mortgage broker services, selling mortgages, you say, we'll give you the absolute lowest rate on a mortgage, otherwise we'll send you a $100 gift card for your troubles. And nobody else has the balls to do that. Therefore, your ad and your landing page is much more efficient right off the bat because you did have the stones to actually do that kind of thing. And then that makes the difference. You can actually be as boring as you want. It's just you're gonna have to dump more money into ad spend to get it working. And you can be as generic about what you're doing as you want, and you have to dump even more money into ad spend. But if you make your offer good, you have a better value of what you're offering, and you do more to go after the long tail keyword traffic up front, you can get potentially things to be profitable right away. So it's really up to you how quickly you want it to work, if you will. based upon how much you want to do, because it all really comes down to then prior work. Before you run an ad, how much work you're going to do to have a better mousetrap, target your ads better. If you do a hell of a lot of work, you can get it to work way sooner. If you don't want to do any work, you can throw money at the problem, and 18 months after you run the ads, it'll eventually work through eventual trial and error, and you'll make it work. It's really up to you which path you take. If you don't know, by the way, how to get this working quicker for yourself, and you cannot afford to wait a year, 18 months, whatever, to get to the conversion rate you need, to get to the lower cost per click you need, because sometimes that's a factor as well. You can't afford to pay $60 a click in some markets. You have to pay $15 to make money. Reach out to me at my agency at guaranteeppc.com. I'll have a conversation with you about what kind of results we can bring you with what we know works as far as strategies, and then offer you a guarantee results to go along with it, since that's what we do for clients at our firm. If you're lucky enough that we've worked in your niche market before, we can literally sell you the winning ad templates, campaign templates, and so forth that work for your market, and you just copy paste all that into your ad account. Like the printer toner business, we could give you the template of what works for that, and then you could just run it as is, and all the process of elimination of finding out what works and what doesn't work, for the most part, is ironed out from the start. And for the most part, if we've already ran ads for years in your market, you're not going to save yourself any money trying to figure it all out for yourself versus buying the template from us that's already all ironed out. And we got people that use these templates to start other businesses. If you want to start an e-commerce business, the easiest way to do it is to take our template to sell an item like this printer toner and sell it in a country that our client isn't in, and you got basically a turnkey business. Or, by the way, if you want a really good passive income business, you can take one of our templates to generate leads, and you can take those leads and mark them up 50% or 100% and sell them to people in that niche market. And that's a great business idea that once it's going, it pretty much runs itself in terms of the leads get sent to the person who buys them. You ring their card, you ding their card every 10 leads. Anyway, if you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can definitely reach out to me, and I can let you know what markets we've worked in. We've worked in over 200 niche markets in the last 10 plus years of running this agency now. So the chances are high we both either worked in your market or are in a market that you'd be interested in. If you have any questions, by the way, about anything like one-offs, you can always leave me a comment in the comment section. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within roughly 24 hours time. And I do that just as a way of saying thank you for helping the channel grow and giving back to the community as much as I can. With that said, okay, you see how much now of a difference this makes. If you were profitable, you're not going to get, 1/20th of the clicks that you're going to be able to get down the road than what you get when you first start out. Your conversion rate, though, the reality is it's not going to be 1/20th of the conversion rate you're going to get later on down the road as well. Assuming you do things right, Google sees you're doing it right, and then rewards you as such, and has had some time to do some testing on their own to get your conversion rate up to a respectable place where there's good money to be made. If you want to know the little micro details in setting this up for you, so it's not if you will make money, it's just a matter of how soon you will start making money and ultimately how much you're going to make. All the little techniques in order to do that, I reveal on this channel. It's all here for free for you to analyze, which if you're going to pay attention to anything, if your goal is to make millions of dollars a year running ads for your business, then this channel is the one you want to subscribe to before anything else, because the information's coming, frankly, from a person who spends 40 hours a week doing ad testing at our firm, whereas 99% of the information you find online about how to make money with ads is given to you by people who don't run any damn ads. They run a couple ads, they really don't do anything. Therefore, they can't advise you on how this stuff works, because you only know what works when you're actively in the weeds doing it, like I am, and doing it as a full-time job. So with that said, you should definitely subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And then furthermore, you want to check out my blog. My blog has actual step-by-step instructions to use the strategies we use to guarantee results for our clients as well. And that actually has screenshots and everything else you need to do the strategies that I'm talking about. So if you like the channel, you're also going to like the blog as well. But with that said, I went over the printer toner market here, what kind of results we were able to get. Most of the results, it's not so easy. In a commodity market like that, you're going to have to be good also on the operation side, making a customer happy, making sure that they're going to buy, doing customer list marketing so that the people that do need to buy, they're buying from you most of the time on the repurchases and stuff like that. Ultimately, and with that, even with everything done right, it can still take a while to make your ads truly, truly, really, really profitable and be in position to sell $10 million a year in printer toner and do it with at least a 10% profit margin and have a really good business, but just selling an everyday average item. That's a typical kind of thing with an e-commerce account. With lead generation accounts, it can be quicker because you need less click data to build up quality scores and all that quicker. But also though, if you're talking about you're in a market with has very high cost per clicks, that is like you're paying $50 a click just to get into doing what you're doing. Like let's say you're offering home painting contracting services, it may be $50 a click. If you're only starting with $3,000 a month in ad budget, you're only going to be able to afford 60 clicks a month for yourselves, which grand scheme of things, 60 clicks is nothing, particularly when you're up against people who have been advertising 5-10 years before you even show up and they've had 20,000 clicks in their account and you're going up against them and expecting after 60 clicks you're going to make money. Forget about it. I don't care how good your ads are, because Google, they treat their new advertisers like dirt until you prove them otherwise. And these algorithms are predicated on data, a certain amount of data before the algorithm makes any strong conclusions as to how you should be treated ultimately. Just to give you an idea how long it can work there, we had a home painting business contractor actually before, and it took over a year before that campaign was truly profitable. And we're talking about on roughly a $3,000 a month budget. So you may be saying, well, that's absolutely crazy it should cost that much to get working. Now, I didn't say we didn't get any sales. After all expenses and everything else, that's how long it took there. You got to realize what people fail to recognize, anything in life that's worth anything isn't going to be hard to get or cheap, one or the other. If it were taking $2,000 worth of ad spend to get a campaign to work in a market like that frankly, once you have an ad campaign that works in that market, you can hire Joe Schmo to do the work and you can just answer the phone, outsource it to somebody, and you've got out of business already. There would be no opportunity there. The differentiator that decides, are you going to get the $3 million a year in business that Google Ads will bring in if you got the ad set up right, a 20% profit margin, so you're going to make $600,000 a year. That is not going to come from spending $2,000 a month in ad spend up front and getting it to work the second month. It's going to be $3,000 a month ad budget to work so that on month 15 you've hit, where it's actually starting to pay for itself, and then by month 25 it's actually paying decently. You're making a couple $100,000 a year in sales or in profit, and then so the big result doesn't even come till year 2, 3, 4, or 5 in the process actually even. So anyway, that's another example of how profitable things can get, and how long this actually can take sometimes. The golden rule is the more competition, the more time it's going to take. If you're doing something anybody can do, like home painting services, any guy who could wake up tomorrow and say, I'm starting a painting business. I'm going to get a truck and a paintbrush and a bucket of paint and I'm in business. Of course, it's going to take a long ass time to get your ads to work. There's no shortage of people trying to do it. There was 50 people before you who's tried to do it. So you're going to have to do more to get things to work because you're not very imaginative or creative on what you're offering. Versus if you make sure you look at and you make a product that's better than the products that are already existing in the market, and it's clearly 5-10 times better than the other products, because you read the reviews of the product and tried to figure out how to engineer a product that's better, looks better in terms of the packaging, has better stats, power ratings, stuff like that, you can get it to work in a month. But all the work was in making the product better. So you can choose your journey. Do you want to go head to head with, because there's literally 15 guys cycling in and out of the ad spots in a painting services market like that. Versus, there's 3, 4, 5 guys selling a product, but your product's 10 times better than theirs. You can get things to work in a month because it's obvious that you have the best product. Therefore, you're going to convert 2, 3 times better than them right off the bat. And therefore, the ads can work right away. So you choose your journey. Do you want to be totally unimaginative and you want to spend most of your time just on marketing? Or do you want to have a better product and marketing is just easy? That's been kind of like the decision you had to make since the beginning of time in business. Do you want to get into a hyper-competitive, cutthroat market and just be the best marketer? Or do you just want to come up with the best product where there's a legitimate gap in the market and a need for something that you fill, and then the marketing is easy? Or usually the best is somewhere in the middle, but With Google Ads and everybody knowing what Google Ads is, it's no secret. Everybody in the market that you're in knows what Google Ads is. They would like to have the customers from Google Ads. The 1 or 2 guys out of the 50 who makes a few $100,000 a year in extra profit because they had Google Ads to work are the ones that, generally speaking, did more. They spent more time to get it working and they were patient. And they actually did more to have a better ad and a better landing page than their competition on top of everything else. So they did everything right from the beginning. They launched it and then they spent time optimizing it. And it may certainly took them 12 months to get it working, which a lot of people just see the big guy running the ads. They can't imagine how they can afford to run those ads when really you didn't see 6 years ago, they started out with a small budget. They weren't particularly worried they weren't making money from it right away, but they were just using it to figure out the model that would make money on that small budget. They eventually got it to be profitable. Then they started scaling it up. Instead of spending $1,000 a month, now they're spending $50,000 a month, 6 years in, and they're making a few $100,000 a year in extra profit in their business. And that's generally the story behind the big guy in your space. They started small, they understood what numbers they needed, they worked their ass off to get to the numbers, that is to a certain cost per lead or ROI. Then they started spending more, recycling their profit into the campaign, more and more and more and more, and eventually they're making the huge amount of money. The average guy comes in and they see that guy and they say, oh, he must be making a lot. I'm going to try Google Ads. Here's 20 minutes of setting up my campaign. Oh, why doesn't it work? Common sense should tell you that it wasn't that easy, because if it were that easy, why didn't somebody else in your damn space do it already? I mean, some people like to believe what they want to believe, and when they want to believe something enough, they'll ignore all other logic so they can stick to their dream. And then they either get through that, they admit to themselves it's going to be taking a bit more work than that, or they just give up, and most people are just going to give up. When the reality is, anybody can make it work. Are you going to be the guy who, instead of expecting it to work after 20 minutes of setting up their ads, they spend the 200 hours of setting it up just before they run a single freaking ad? Then they spend another 200 hours of work optimizing the hell out of it to get it to work. Anybody can, in almost any market, basically speaking, get their ads to be profitable and make all this money in their market. Are you going to outwork them? And are you going to work smartly? That is, you pay attention to somebody who actually knows what they're doing, which, without tooting my own horn here too much or sounding arrogant, it's all here on this channel. I mean, we guarantee results for clients. I give you the stuff what we're using to guarantee results for our clients. You just copy that, you got everything you need. So it's not like esoteric information that, you wish you could get the information. It's all here. You want to put the work in to do it? And if you don't, you hire us and we do all the work for you. And you write a check. But of course, it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be $50 and you're a millionaire already and all that. It's thousands a month, and it's going to take a few months to hit profitability. But it's worth it because you're going to be making several $100,000 a year in profit when it's all going. So it's all relative. Anyway, if you're serious about it, we can give you a guarantee like that. But it's not cheap. And if it were cheap, it wouldn't be worth anything. I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said Google Ads account was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.